Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom. It's your brother Joshua back with another quick coffee break, right? And a quick overview of what's going on in the world right now. It's a beautiful time to be alive, man. It's a real beautiful time to be alive. We should be excited in the days that we're living in, because our forefathers long for these days to see the prophecies of the Most High come to pass, right? And they longed for these days long ago and weren't able to see them, right? So you should be blessed and very happy to be living in these times, right? Because you look around the world, if you're watching and you're occupying your time in prophecy, then you will know that the Lord spoke of these certain events that are going on around the world. Now you see war and pestilence around the world, big time, right? The love of many waxing cold. All these things are happening simultaneously at a rapid rate, in a rapid pace in the world in these last days, right? So let me read this real quick. Okay, in the book of Ecclesiastes real quick before I kick it off. But first and foremost, before I do that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. That is to say, all praises to the Heavenly Father, whom the world calls God, and the name of His only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right? So let me read this in the book of Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 1. It reads, "But he that is given his mind to the law of the Most High is occupied in the meditation thereof, and will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies." So in these last days, brothers and sisters should be occupied in the prophecies and the things that are going around. And, you know, like I said, it's a beautiful time to be living in, because you're able to see things that your forefathers were unable to see. And you're able to experience things that your forefathers were unable to experience. And even so, people that are walking in your own neighborhoods, in your own family, your own communities, don't see the things that you see, because they're living with a life of blindness and being alienated or separated from the Most High, and just living their best life in darkness. And the Lord was gracious enough to open your eyes and give you the eye salve to be able to identify these prophecies that are going on and the things that are in the world, to give you warning, right? To be able to achieve the chance to get the kingdom in these last days. All right, let me get this precept real quick in the book of Luke. All right, this is the book of Luke, chapter 10. And I'm going to start at verse number 21. And it reads, Shalaki, it says, I think this is what I want. Luke 10 and 21. That's not what I want. Shalakia. Right? But nevertheless, you're definitely in a time of prophecy and being able to identify the coming of the Messiah that's soon to happen, right? And before I find that precept, I want to get another precept real quick. Just get it in the book. No, matter of fact, I got it. It's the book of Matthew. That's what I wanted. Matthew 13 and verse 16. And it reads, blessed, Salakia, be blessed. Salakia. Matthew 13 and 16, it reads, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Right? So your eyes are blessed that you are able to live in a time and be able to see the things and the prophetic events and everything that's going on around the world, man. You know, and You know, the Most High has given you the foresight and being a witness to get ready for the coming of the Messiah in these last days. And it's definitely a beautiful thing to be able to be chosen out of many, to be able to have that foresight to see and receive the knowledge of the Lord, to be able to do these things, right? So let's get another precept real quick and go into the things that are going on around the world, right? So let's get this. Let's stay in the book of Matthew and let's go to Matthew chapter 24. And we're going to get the book of Matthew chapter 24, and we're going to start at verse number I'm starting at verse number 1. And it reads, "And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him and for him to shew him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, and shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many." Right? And there's a lot of people coming in the name of a Mashiach Yahushua, teaching false doctrine, right? And actually portraying to be the Messiah, right? Leading people astray, teaching things that ought not to be spoken, and really mainly devouring the children of the Most High, man. You Jakes out here, you Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans that have been tossed to and fro with many wind of doctrine, that have been taught by these false Christs, these antichrists that are on the earth, right? And it says, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. The end is not yet. So the Lord said you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. Now, if you look on your local news and the world news, you happen to see that there's wars everywhere. NATO is on the forefront, on the brink of going to war, right? With these countries, you got Russia stealing the land of Ukraine, taking over, pillaging and plundering and destroying that place, right? You have China surrounding Taiwan, threatening to invade and take over, right? You got several countries warring against one another in the Middle East. You got dictators warning the West about moving further into their countries and helping these other countries and giving money and things of that nature. All right, let me pull up this little article real quick. This is let's see, let's go to this source real quick. It says, U.S. Republican Senator Marco Rubio, who is a member of a Gang of 8 and the Senate of Intelligence Committee, had made a post stating that Iran wants to launch a large-scale attack from its own territory against Israel, and that Israel is preparing to respond instantly with the even more severe attack inside of Iran, with him further stating what happens next is the most dangerous Middle East moment since 1973. So, hey, Middle East is getting ready to be rocked, right? Lord willing, things, go crazy over there. Bombs be dropped, more blood been shed, all these things, man, so we can haste to the coming of the Son of Man. They over there talking big noise. They said what happens next is the most dangerous Middle East moment since 1973. Right? So they over here talking big noise. They're trying to ramp up this third world war that's on the way. And the Lord said, what? You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. There are so many so-called dictators or kings or presidents or whatever have you in these nations that are rising against one another, right? And let's read on in the scriptures. It says, verse 7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Now we continue to see these earthquakes popping off. It just had an earthquake or two that was up there in the New England area in New Jersey, right? New York, I believe. I hear that they have they're predicting the San Andreas fault, part of it anyway, that is long overdue for a quake, right? And there's quakes around the world happening every day. Hundreds of earthquakes every day that people don't speak about, right? And these things are happening on a rapid pace. It's happening more than ever in these last days. And it also said there's pestilence on the earth, and there's new outbreaks. If you have not heard, there's an outbreak, right? They have an outbreak called the mpox or the monkeypox, right? Which is an outbreak again that was here before, but has now come out again in 2024, right? And what is a monkeypox? It says the mpox, formerly known as the monkeypox, is a viral disease caused by the infection with the monkeypox virus. The monkeypox virus is part of the same family of viruses as variola viruses, and the virus causes smallpox, right? The mpox is rarely fatal, and its symptoms are similar to smallpox but milder. Okay, and it's not related to chickenpox. So we have the smallpox on the rise, and we also have something called, we also have something called meningococcal disease, if I'm saying that right. Meningococcal disease on the rise, and it occurs commonly in two forms: inflammation of the membranes covering the brain and spinal cord, right? So this thing attacks the brain and the spinal cord. Or a severe blood infection, right? So it attacks the blood as well, and it's a serious disease. It's called the meningococcal disease, and they say this is on the rise as well, right? So these are two of many diseases that have been that has recently come out in 2024 in these last days. I think there's one more tuberculosis is back on the rise in 2024, right? Let's see what tuberculosis is. It says potentially serious infection, right? Bacterial disease that mainly affects the lungs. The bacteria that causes TB are spread with the infected coughs or sneezes, right? So people are going to end up being afraid of coming around each other. They might end up making that mask mandate come back out soon. So-called tuberculosis disease. And let's get one more. He's got the so-called bird flu is on the rise in 2024. It says strains of influenza virus primarily affected birds can also infect humans. This type of flu is most often contracted by contact with sick birds. It can also be passed from person to person, right? So, it's crazy. Now you finna have folks trying to stay away from one another. You know, you about to have another mass hysteria, Lord willing. Things get shut down in these last days. The Lord said, look out for these things. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these things are the beginning of sorrows, man. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. in these last days, man. And all these things are ramping up and catching fire and beginning to roll through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in these last days, and getting heavier and heavier on the earth. The tension is so thick you can cut it with a knife if you're paying attention to what's really going on in the world, man. You know, the Lord is giving you sign after sign after sign. And he said, look, this generation is going to seek for them signs. And this is going to be the last generation on earth, man. You know, the Lord said this is going to be that last generation, Lord willing. Because we're going to be seeking for that sign. And we're going to see these things that come to pass. And it's going to be an indicator of the end of the world. Right? Let's stay in Matthew 24 real quick. We're going to jump down to verse number 33. And it reads, so likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. So when you see all these things happen, just know that the signs of the end is here, man. He said it's knocking at the door, that these are the signs of the end of the times. And it says, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled, man. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. Right? See that? The Lord said, man, this generation is not going to pass until all these things are fulfilled through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. So you living in the last generation. And you also see the love of many waxing cold. And you see a lot of steering away from the Most High in these last days, going off into these, you know, foreign doctrines or leaving the churches, you know, and all praises for that, you know, Jake and Eve is leaving the church because they're not teaching you the truth anyway. But Jake and Eve is not just leaving the church, they're leaving the Most High, right? Period. They're not believing anymore because they've been lied to for so long. You know, brothers and sisters are getting tired of it, you know, and they're walking away from the words of the Most High and taking heed to seducing doctrines and falling in love with themselves, man, worshiping their own selves in these last days. You got a lot of self-worship and self-love and self-lust and you know, I'm a God and I'm this and I'm that. You know, you hear this conversation going on a lot. You know, the pride spirit is heavy in the world. And the Lord said these things were going to happen in these last days. Right? Let's get a precept real quick. Let's go to 2 Timothy. Right? Let's get this classic. This is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous. Right? And that's what you see, a lot of covetousness, man. People that, you know, they covet what these other nations have. They covet what other people have instead of coveting something righteous, like coveting to prophesy, man, or wanting to covet the words of the Most High and, you know, follow the commandments. They coveting and, you know, being envious of these other nations, right? And it says, covetous, boasters, proud. You see a lot of pride going on, man. Pride is one of the most hateful sins of the Most High. He hates pride, man. And there's so many pride, you know, prideful men and women on the earth, man. Like I said, that self-love spirit, or they so proud they speaking ill against the Most High, or the prophets of the Most High, or boasting about other religions like Islam or things of that nature, man. Right? It says boasters, proud, blasphemers, those that are running away from the Lord, man. You know, denying the Holy Spirit. And it says disobedient to parents, unholy and unthankful. And you see a lot of that. These children are out of control. They're no longer in line or respect the elders anymore. And truth be told, a lot of our elders don't deserve the respect because they're contrary to the laws of the Lord as well. But these children they're wicked as hell. They out here running the streets, killing one another, man, having sex at early ages. It's getting even more crazier. You know, these young girls at 12, 13 years old talking about they lesbians. These little boys in elementary talking about they gay. You know, it's wicked. And it says, without natural affection, truce breakers and false accusers. You see a lot of natural affection leaving the earth, man. People don't have love for one another anymore, man. They don't have sympathy. They don't care for one another. It's a lot of that self-love, me spirit on the earth, right? And there's no more truth breakers. You can't, trust anybody with your secrets anymore or anything. False accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. And we see that week in and week out on the highways and byways. Those that are despising the words of the Lord and what is good in the eyes of the Lord. The commandments, right? The law of the Lord is good, right? And they despise hearing the words of the Lord. Walk by you and shun you off. Things of that nature. And it reads, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. And you see that everywhere, man. On these podcasts, man, these men and women versus each other, and that you gotta, what you bring to the table, spirit, you gotta do for me, you gotta love me. But when you tell them about the Most High and what you're missing in your relationship, they don't want to hear that. They don't believe in the Lord anymore. They don't trust in the Lord anymore. They are despisers of those that are doing good, and they hate the Most High, right? And it says, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. And that's what a lot of our people do. They got a form of godliness, man. They fronting like they know the Lord. We hear that constantly. Yeah, I know God. Yeah, I got a relationship with God. I love God. But as soon as you say, well, how do you love God? Oh, they don't know. When you tell them you got to keep the commandments, no, we ain't got to do that. That's done away with, right? These things are not so, right? But yet the Lord said these people you have to turn away from, because this thing is showing forth the spirit that's in the world in these last days. They're giving heed to different doctrines, lying spirits. And they're moving further and further away from the light, right? Let's go to 1 Timothy real quick. Let me get this in 1 Timothy chapter 4. And I'm going to start at verse 1, and it reads, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing doctrines and doctrines of devils. Right, Salaki, let me read it again. Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with an hot iron, man. And that's what you see, a lot of people falling out of the truth as well. Old, stupid, wicked doctrines coming back up. There's a hell, or, all different type of stuff, man. Right? Or the heathen can be saved. Things of that nature, giving heed to seducing doctrines and spirits, man. Or just falling out of the truth altogether and going back to Christianity or Islam or whatever. These things are happening in the last days, thus said the Lord. And you men and women of the Most High have to protect yourself in these last days and keep the hedge of protection of the Most High. Stay prayed up, fast, be around righteous brothers and sisters that are able to keep you in the spirit at all times, man. Be continually with a godly man that you know it to keep it the commandments in these last days, right? And we definitely have to pray that the Father keeps his spirit on us, that we won't be carried away with every wind of doctrine, that we won't be seduced, that we won't be led astray and cast back out into other darkness. We're in a heavy spirit right now, getting ready to go into the Passover, that we have to be in constant meditation and also taking out all the leaven and casting away the old man in these last days, right? Let me get a quick precept. Go to the book of Numbers real quick. The book of Numbers, chapter 6, and verse number, I'm going to start at verse number 24. And it reads, "The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. That the Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel." Right? So you want to pray that the Lord keep you in these last days, that he shines his face upon you, that he doesn't turn his face away from you. Right? That should be heavy in your prayer, that the Lord keeps you and doesn't take the Holy Spirit from you in these last days, that you can have that proper spirit of discernment to stay away from these seducing spirits and these doctrines of devils, and that you can always keep a watchful eye on the things that are going on in the world, and that you strengthen the things that remain, and that you will not give up your crown, right, in these last days, right? And that you're counted up worthy to be able to stand before the Messiah when he comes. And that's what we all want. Ultimately, at the end, is be able to be worthy to stand before Yahushua and hear those words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Right? Let me get this in Luke real quick. Get a couple more. Right? This is the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse number 36. It says, "Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be counted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man." Right? Because that's what we want to do, is be accounted worthy to escape all these things that are coming upon the earth, and that we are counted worthy to stand before the Most High. Right? So keep your head on the swivel, Israel, man. You know, and know that we in the last days, and we got to stay focused and know that, hey, we almost here. Right? Let me stay in Luke real quick. Let me jump up to verse 28. It reads, "And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh." So understand that we rounding up in the fourth quarter. Keep praying. Keep fasting, keep enduring, Israel, and keep watching. It's a lot going on, and it's a beautiful time to be alive, and for you to be able to see and witness what's going on in the world, and pray that you're accounted worthy to stand before Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. But with that, hope it was edifying. I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Say shalom. Peace.